Well, good day, family. This is Glynn B. Allen Sr. And again, I'm here with another master class. And the purpose of this class is to make sure that we're mastering life, because certainly we don't want life to master us. I want to get you back in the driver's seat of life and take control and take your life back. And really, it's to the point that you can give God the glory with your life and make the best of life. You know, so many people live life and they're really doing the least that they possibly can, the least amount of potential and possibilities, that they live on the very bottom of their potential and possibilities. But I want to get you to the place where you're maximizing life. The only way you can do that is master some things. Got to get some tools in your toolbox to really work through life and navigate through life in a way that is successful. That is the main purpose of this broadcast, this master class, is to get you to a place where you become successful in all the things that you do. Everything that you do, I believe the Lord wants you to succeed in it. Now, there's been a time when you've been surviving, of course, and survival was pretty good, because it's a badge of honor sometimes just to know that you can make it through some situations. In case you got to go back to something, you know that you are a survivor. Now, man, I want to celebrate those who have gone through some things. And now, as you look back at the past season, you can testify, man, I am a survivor. I made it through it. I don't know how I got through all of that, but I know God brought me through it. Man, I thought it was going to take me out. I thought that I would die in the midst of it, but God brought me through it. I am a survivor. Well, this next season calls for something else. And you got to master some things for this next season, which is called success. Now, I want you to walk into this season ready to conquer everything. The Bible says you've been made more than a conqueror. Now, you've got to get ready to not just fight, but know that you are a winner, that no weapon that's been formed against you should be able to prosper. And every lying tongue is already condemned, and God is already giving you the victory. I want you to go into this next season knowing that you are successful. Grab life by the horns, take control again as you master life, and know that you are winning in this season. Please do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe with someone that you care about, that you know needs a little encouragement, need a little boost in the middle of this week, to get them in a proper place for victory as well. Push those like buttons, and make some comments. Let me know that you're enjoying the broadcast, and possibly maybe you're getting some out of it. Tonight, I really want to deal with something I've been really pondering over, and it's a big subject matter. It is one of the things I struggle with, actually, as it relates to people. And many of us have this issue called trust issues. Trust issues. If you've been disappointed or let down, or you've been abandoned, or maybe lied to, or betrayed, or whatever the case may be with people, it could really put you in a place where the next person comes in your life, or the next group of people, or situations come in your life, man, you're just not willing to trust them. You're not willing to let your guard down. It's hard to let people in. It's hard to believe what people say because you have trust issues. Trust is a very big word. Trust is a very big word. It is a relationary word. It's a word that deals with the foundation of relationships. If you can't trust someone, you really don't have a strong relationship with them. You possibly don't have any at all, because trust is the foundational structure of a relationship. If I can't trust you, I always have to question whether you're saying something that's truthful, or maybe possibly it may be prevarication. May just be a lie. Well, to put it simply, trust is so important, because someone needs to walk away from you understanding that what you say is the truth. And trust, as defined is in the Webster's Dictionary, as assured reliance on the character, ability, strength, or truth of someone or something. I got to know that you're telling me the truth. I got to be able to rely. I'm assured that I can rely on the character, ability, and strength of your truth. Your truth. Are you telling me the truth? So trust is a big word. Trust is found in our currency system. And I believe it was in the 1800s that J.P. Morgan printed this on one of Morgan's Chase family, printed on our currency, that in God we trust. Now, I don't know if they were putting it on that in that particular time. It's supposed to have stated that God was the one that we would trust in the Civil War to bring us victory. And then it should be now, even today, as we go through these troublesome times, that we understand God is the only one that we can trust. In the climate that we live in, man, it is important that we get this word under our belt again, that in God we will trust. If you haven't trust issues with our government, with the climate of our world today, and it's uncertain, because when I look at government and the offices that are available and the people that are running for it, I don't know who can I trust. I don't see any man that I can put my trust in. So I got to trust in the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Now, trust in God is called bitachon in the Hebrew language. It comes from the root word meaning to lean on, to feel safe, or to be confident. Let me say it again. It means to lean on. Bitachon means to lean on, to feel safe, or to be confident. And, listening to the debate, listening to our government leaders, I don't know who to feel safe with. I don't know if we can lean on anybody. We got to learn again, America, we got to learn to trust in the Lord. Go back to the description, read it. In God we trust, not in man, because man has an agenda. Man will fail you. Man will let you down. But in God we got to trust, because we live in a time where people have their own agenda, their own program. People are moving to get their agendas done for a particular party, but not for the betterment of the country, but for the betterment of a certain class of people. As we look at even Project 2025, many of us are being terrified by the reading of this, man. I just read over some of the things that are going to change in 2025 if a candidate gets in office. And it is terrifying some of us, because we know some of the things are unfair, it's not civilly right, and it's really going into a place where we're becoming non-democratic as a government. Democracy is going to lose its place and be more of a dictatorship than anything else. So who can I trust? Certainly I can't trust a man. I look at people and they just lie. People lie. I don't know who to trust. I don't know who to lean on. I don't know who I can rely on. Who am I safe with? Who can I have confidence with? Well, let me turn you back to the one that we should trust, and that is God tonight. Lord, I will trust you. There used to be a song when I was coming up as a boy. We sung it, and I sung it early on in my preaching career. We still should sing it today, and it is, I will trust in the Lord. I will trust in the Lord until I die. I don't care what's going on. I'm going to trust in the Lord. Now, if there's no one else you can trust in, you should be able to trust in God according to his track record with you. Trust is something you got to earn. And no one that I look at on television or social media, in our government or in our local or even national, international, I don't know who's going to push a button and destroy this whole world. The track record is very bleak. I don't know. I hear one thing and see something else. I hear lies and blatant lies. I see people who are criminalistically minded and no regard for people. Our moral compass is way out of whack, as relates to even government leaders. And I look today and say, how can I trust your track record? You don't have a proven track record of good leadership. You do whatever you want to do once you get in office. But there's one person we can trust, and that is the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. And the government shall be upon his shoulder. What government are we talking about? Not the government of this world, but God has a kingdom government, and we are part of that. So, Lord, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust you. There's so many lies men have told, and the trust must be based on the truth. If you're going to be trusted, you got to be truthful. I'll say this even from a relationship standpoint. There's so many people that want a real relationship, but you tell lies. You told a lie about so many things. I was talking to someone before and was kind of involved with them a little bit and found out everything they were saying to me was an untruth. Everything they told me about themselves was untrue. Just a lie from the very beginning. And the Bible tells us that Satan is the father of lies. And certainly we know we can't trust him. So the only way you can trust someone is to make sure that they're truthful. And we know that there's someone who has the incapability of lying. In Numbers chapter 23 and verse 19 and 20 says this in the New Living Translation, but God is not a man, so he does not lie. He does not lie. He's not a human, so he does not change his mind. He has ever spoken and failed to act. Has he ever spoken and has failed to act? Whatever God says, he holds true to it. Has he ever promised and not carried it through? Listen, I receive a command to bless. God is blessed and cannot reverse. Whatever God says, you can trust it. I'll give you these 2 words today to live by as you march into this new season. Those 2 words will bring you through every situation, no matter what it is. We got to trust God. God is incapable of lying. He's unchangeable, unmovable. He's immutable. He doesn't change. He does not get old. He is not forgetful. And whatever he says, it must come to pass. We can trust him. If God says he is our healer, he's not changing that. Our provider, he's not changing that. And in these troublesome times, we need to know that when we pray and when we hear a word from God, we can trust it. Not from man. I'm living within the world, but I'm not of the world. And the government system, beloved believer, is not the one you're looking at and relying on, is not the one we're living out of. I remember this place in the Bible where Moses went to Pharaoh and said, let my people go. It was a command, I believe, in Exodus chapter 14, let my people go. And they were supposed to make an exit, and Pharaoh's heart got harder, and God brought on plagues. But God had his people living in a place called Goshen. Now get this, a place called Goshen, right outside of Egypt. No matter what was going on in Goshen, whatever was going on in Egypt was not going on in Goshen, because God protected his people. And let me tell you something. God is the same God yesterday, today, and forevermore. If God kept Israel when Egypt was going through a plague and did not allow them to suffer any of the plagues, not even the firstborn being destroyed or killed, because the blood of the Lamb was on the doorpost. God, even in 2024, can protect us from every plague, every recession, every pandemic, and everything that would come up to bring destruction to our land. So no matter who sits in office, I will always put my trust in God. I can rely on him. You can rely on him. What's going to go on with this Project 2025? I don't know, but I trust God. What's going on if the wrong person gets in office? I don't know, but the last I checked, my God is not running for office. He is the sovereign king. I don't know what's going to happen to our economy. but I know God is Jehovah Jireh. We can trust him to provide. I don't know if there will be another pandemic released chemically into the air to destroy other lives. And some of this can happen. And I don't know if another hurricane will come like Katrina and wipe out the southern region of America. I don't know if these storms are going to destroy the country. We live in the last days, perilous times. We got to put our trust in God. And believe this today, if God said something over your life will not end until God's promise prevails. Trust God today. This is a major fact. We got to trust him. Trust him. In Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5, it says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not into thine own understanding. Many times you're trying to lean to what makes sense, but we got to trust God. Trust God with all of our heart. Yes, not some of it. Don't have half-hearted trust in God. But Lord, today I trust you with all my heart, and I don't lean to things that make sense. This don't make sense. Well, that's what faith never makes sense. And God's ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. And God will use the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. I don't know how God's going to make a way. I don't know exactly what measure he's going to do it, when he's going to do it, because, God is just that complex that just when you think you figured God out, God comes and does things in a whole different way. I just got to trust him, wait patiently upon him, and he will incline his ear to me and establish my feet upon a solid rock. He'll hear my prayer and start me in a new journey. Today, this word is for somebody. You got to trust God. In Psalm 34 and verse 8, it says, "Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good." Well, not that he was good, but the Lord is good. And blessed is the man that trusted in him. God, your track record is good with me. In Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 7, it says, "Blessed is the man that trusted in the Lord and whose hope the Lord is." Lord, you are my hope. I'm trusting in you. There's never been a problem that God did not work out for me. There's never been a time that God did not fix the things concerning me. David said it like this: "I've been young and now I am old, but I've never seen the righteous forsaken, neither their seed begging bread." God has never failed us. So in this election time, will you say to God, "Lord, I'm sorry that I've put my trust in man. I put my trust in humans. They let me down. I've put my trust in people that were unreliable." And let me help you get somewhere real quick tonight. If you're trusting people, let me tell you how to not vex yourself with disappointment. Let me move you to a new horizon when it comes down to trusting people. When you trust people, you got to trust them from a new horizon. Get a better understanding. And when you're, sometimes disappointed or discouraged by the lack of trust you can have, a lack of reliability, faithfulness, or loyalty you'll find in people. This is what you got to trust. I will trust that people will be people. I will trust that people will not be infinite, but they will be finite. They have the capability of failing. They have the capability of not holding true or standing the ground that they say they will stand on. I trust that you will be who you are. I trust that you can make a mistake. So that takes the weight off of me being disappointed in people. I trust you for being who you are. I trust you for being weak at times. Trust you for not always telling the truth or not always holding up your end of the bargain. But when it comes down to God, God cannot fail, God cannot lie, and God will never leave. So the trust in people got to be different than the trust we have in God. And Psalm 20 and verse 7 says, some trust in chariots and some trust in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God. While other people are putting their trust in the army, in the United States Army, and we have the largest military base in the world. We have the most expensive military defense system in the world, but we cannot trust him. If God does not keep us, we will not be kept. I need us to shift our trust back to God tonight. I say this word redundantly tonight over and over again. You got to trust God. Don't trust your money. Don't trust your degree. Don't trust your contacts. They can only do so much for you. There's coming a time where you're going to have to put all your trust in God. What's going to happen when your money can't buy the answer? What's going to happen when your contacts can't come through? What's going to happen when your degree is worthless and you cannot find a job? You're going to have to trust God. And beloved, our world, as it moves rapidly to perilous times, we are not going to be able to depend on the things we've depended on before. We're going to need to trust God like never before. This is a prophetic word. This is a prophetic word. Times are going to change. And if you have your trust in money or in people or in positions or even in your own ability, you're going to find out that none of those things are going to sustain you. If God does not keep us, we will not be kept. You know, God didn't just save us with his grace. And I say this often, God is not only a God of salvation with his grace, but God will sustain us with the same grace. If I can trust God to save my soul, certainly I can trust him to sustain me. Today, I want you to move your focus back to the one who's worthy of your trust, and that is God Almighty. Times will come, and I want to get us prepared before those times come. Time will come when none of the things that we've relied on in the past will be sure. We must get back to trusting God. And Psalm 37 and verse 3, it says, trust in the Lord and do good, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. No matter what goes on, God is going to make sure that you're eating, that you have provision, that your children are cared for. But you got to trust God. Got to trust God. No matter what's going on in the land, we got to trust God. I love this tonight. I love it. In Psalm 37, again in verse 40, it said, and the Lord shall help them and deliver them. He shall deliver them from the wicked and save them because they trust in him. Because we trust in God, because we rely on God, and because we know that God is faithful, even in times when we are not. Oh, how many of you tonight can really say that there have been times when I was not faithful to God, and maybe God could not trust me. But there's never been a time when God was unfaithful to me. When I was unfaithful, 2 Timothy, I believe, says, even when we were not faithful, he remained faithful because he's God. He could not move outside of his ability or his character. God never changed, no matter how unreliable we became. God remained the same. Today, we can trust his track record. We can trust that he will be there. In Psalm 56 and 3, it says, in the King James Version, what time I am afraid, I will trust in the Lord. In this time, when fear comes to encamp around us, there's so many things I look at that can cause us to fear. And fearful moments I want you to know you can trust God. What's going to happen next, I don't know. But I know I can trust God. What's coming in the next season, I don't know. What does the next chapter look like? I don't know. What I do know is that I can trust the next chapter because I know the author of the book. I know who's writing my story. I know who's in control of the narrative. And God cannot fail me. So today, no matter how uncertain life is, we can trust God. I want you to build your life on this tonight. We can hold to his hand, his unchanging hand. Time is filled with swift transition. Yes, but I can hold to his hand. I can trust God. Last scripture for the night, Psalm 118 and verse 8. It says, it is better to trust in the Lord than to put your confidence in man. Beloved, tonight, I want to come on with this word because, man, as I'm watching the news, I hear people calling daily asking me, what are we going to do about this Project 2025? What can you do? You got to learn that when things are out of your scope of ability, when I can't do anything about it, when I can't take care of myself, and I don't know what the next chapter will look like, or the next president will look like, or what he's gonna do. Man, it's so unpredictable. Man can change on you like the wind. In this election season, I want to help us as we get closer to it, to realign our trust back to God. Beloved, please hear me tonight. Please, I know you got a lot banking on your political connections, but these are mere human beings and they're subject to fall. But we have an unfailing God. And Lord, I thank you tonight that no matter what's going on in this world, you're going to take care of me. I put my trust in you. And I need you to do that tonight. Lord, I'm totally committed to trust you. No matter what things look like, or no matter how big the threats are, whatever they take away, whatever they abolish, whatever they put it into programs to help or to supplement, God, you've always been there to take care of your people. And we are coming back to trust you. I got trust issues with man, but I don't have them with God. God, you've already proven yourself to be true. So tonight, I want you, beloved, to get back to the one and only true and living God, the one we can trust. God Jehovah, the self-existing one. El Shaddai, the God of more than enough. The God that's multi-breasted. The God that never runs out. Jehovah Jireh, God our provider. Oh, Jehovah Rapha, God our healer. Jehovah Nissi, God our banner, our protector. Oh God, tonight we're depending on you. We trust you. And beloved, I want you, with all the things that are going on around you, to find your way back to trusting God like never before. It's going to make your life a lot easier. I don't need to figure it all out. I'm going to trust God. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I'm trusting God. What tomorrow brings, and man, I tell you, when I read Matthew chapter 6, it gives me clarity to take no thought about tomorrow, for tomorrow will take thought of itself. If God will feed the fowl of the air, the birds of the air, If God will clothe the lily of the field, how much more will he take care of us? Take no thought about it. Don't worry about it. Know that God has this thing in control. We are going to trust him. And we put him first. According to Matthew chapter 6 and verse 33, he would add all these things to us. Don't worry. Just know that you can trust God. Beloved, that's enough for tonight. I just wanted to come on and give you a word because we're living in such a time. I get questions every day about, man, what are we going to do? Well, let me tell you what we're going to do. We're going to trust God. After hearing this word tonight, there may be someone here that needs to surrender your life to Christ. Or maybe you need a church home. Possibly you just want a word of encouragement daily. Well, you can do this with us tonight. You can get saved by just going to the screen and texting the word SAVE to that number. If you want to connect with us and be a part of our family, text the word CONNECT. You want to be a part of a daily encouraging word, then text the word DAILY. We'll make sure you're contacted. And then every morning we are praying at 7:14 a.m. Please join us for prayer. That's the perfect way to change the trajectory of your day. Start it off with prayer. You're invited. Everyone is invited to join us for prayer. No matter where you live, you can join us at 7:14 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just log on with that number right there and join us for prayer. Beloved, before you sign off tonight, I need your support. I need your support tonight. Give an offering, pay your tithes. Make sure you support this broadcast financially. Do it tonight. Let the Lord use you to be a blessing to this kingdom work. Last but not least, beloved, I want to tell you this before I leave you. I love me some you, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'll see you next time for Masterclass.